Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. And as always, if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a doubleheader post-fight of the last card and a pre-fight for this card, and little MMA news as of tonight for you guys too in the mix. So let's get started with post-fight of the last card. The last card was main event Yuri versus Dominic light heavyweight clash, and to kick off that main card in the bantamweight division, we had Merab Dvalishvili versus defeating Cody Stamann, decision unanimous. This was a grueling fight. Merab made it a barn burner though. Awesome performance. Then in the middleweight division, we had Sean Strickland defeat Krzysztof Jotko by decision, unanimous. This was just him outpointing him and looking very good and technical and clean. Then in the light heavyweight division, we had Ion Kudalaba versus Dustin Jacoby, and this was a split draw. Heavy shots landed on both sides here. Then in the featherweight division, in the co-main event, we had Giga Jakadze defeat Cub Swanson, TKO, body kick and punches round one. This was impressive body kick by Giga, looked amazing, and you could tell Cub had just really wanted to not let it get to him and really go in there and try to not be out of the fight. And you could tell he had a lot of heart and will after that body kick. Like, he just would not want to give up. And but yeah, Giga just kept teeing off, and yeah, the ref had to call it. Giga is a prospect to look out for. Then in the main event in the light heavyweight division, we had Yuri Prochazka defeat Dominic Reyes, KO round two, spinning back elbow. Again, and this fight as well, Dominic Reyes looked like he just did not want to give up. He had heart and will, and unfortunately for him, in my opinion, I think Dominic Reyes needs to go to a bigger, more prestigious training camp. I think the training with his brothers is nice and all, but he needs to go to Greg Jackson, or he needs to go to American Top Team, or MMA Lab. He needs to go to those big gyms and make that his home gym, and really get those expert details put in, because he showed in this fight that he had all the heart and will to want to be in the fight and want to go for the win. And now he just needs that skill and technique that needs to be refined and fine-tuned. He looked good early on in his UFC career. He's obviously had some setbacks now. This is his third loss in a row, and I think him having to go up against the top 5, top 10 of the division now consistently, he's going to need that extra oomph to his striking, his ground attack, everything. And I think if he can do that, he's going to be back in action. But I think right now, have him fight unranked opponent just to get his wits back. And Yuri, I think either title shot or number one contender fight. But yeah, it was an exciting fight nonetheless, and I think Dominic Reyes is still a potential future champ in the division despite the setbacks. But Yuri is looking good, and I think he will be a challenge for anyone who has a belt or in the top of the division. Then we go on to pre-fight rundown of this upcoming card. So let's get started. And let me just refresh this here. Okay, yeah, they haven't changed the main card on me yet. So yeah, to kick off the main card, the main event is Rodriguez versus Watterson, women's flyweight bout. Anyhow, in the women's strawweight division, to kick off the main card, we have Amanda Hebas going up against Angela Hill. I'm going to go with Angela Hill by decision. I think she's going to outstrike her on the stand-up, on points, win unanimous decision. Then in a catchweight bout, at 160.5, we have Carlos Diego Ferreira versus Gregor Gillespie. I'm going to go with Carlos Diego Ferreira on here. I think the way he looked against Beneil Dariush, despite the loss, it was a very tough, grueling fight, and it was a close fight, and Beneil won. But I think Carlos has it in him to deal with Gregor Gillespie and possibly knock him out. I think Carlos has good hands, and Gregor can win by knockout as well. But I think I'll give Carlos a 60% chance of winning, and I'm going to say he wins. I'll say first round. No, I'll say second round knockout on here. Then in the heavyweight division, we have Marcos Rogerio de Lima versus Maurice Green. And yeah, this is a tough one. Both need a win bad. But I think Marcos is going to win by knockout. I think they're both in need of a much needed win. The loser of this fight to be cut by the UFC. And I think, that being said, I'm going to go with Marcos by knockout first round. I think Maurice can have good ground attack and win by decision here if he makes it a ground game. But I think early on Marcos is going to be hitting with those heavy shots and win first round knockout. Then in the welterweight division, we have Neil Magny versus Jeff Neal. I still think Jeff Neal has a lot of talent, and I still think he's a potential star in the making in the division, despite the setback to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But I'm going to go with Neil Magny here. Yeah, Neil Magny had the setback to Michael Chiesa. But I think, Neil Magny is just going to defend takedowns and keep it striking, keep it standing. And I think he knows that he needed to work on his ground attack after the Michael Chiesa loss. And I think he probably has. He has a great team. And so I'm going to go with Neil Magny by decision here. I think it's going to be a barn burner fight, a tough fight for him. But I think Neil Magny can squeak out a win. 29-28 unanimous decision. So I'm going with a Neil Magny decision here. Then in the welterweight division, in the co-main event, we have Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Alex Morono. And this one I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Donald Cerrone here. I think he needs a win, and he knows it, and I think he'll avoid any heavy shots and pick them apart and win. And I could see Cerrone here winning like second round knockout. So there you have it, second round knockout for Cowboy. Then in the women's flyweight division, in the main event, we have Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterson. And let's see. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Man, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with Michelle Waterson here. This is a tough one, though. I just think the experience is going to be a factor. I mean, they both have had great fights in the UFC. But, initially I wanted to say Michelle Waterson by a landslide. But, doing a double take on this, I'm thinking that I'll give Michelle Waterson a 60% chance of winning this fight. So I'll give Michelle Waterson the my pick, but yeah, I'm gonna say Michelle Waterson by decision. I think this goes all 5 rounds. So yeah, there you have it. There's my predictions on this card, and a little MMA news. So Bellator just wrapped up tonight, and we have a new champion, Sergio Pettis, at bantamweight in Bellator, and congrats to him. And it was a great fight against Juan Archuleta, and Anthony Johnson looked amazing in the co-main event. And if you missed it, watch a replay. Sergio Pettis, congrats on winning the title. I am interested if there's ever going to be a rematch. Juan Archuleta does have a lot of potential still, and I could see a scenario where he works his way back up to the belt and possibly even gets the belt back at some point. So yeah, great fight, and yeah, I do watch and keep up with other promotions in case some of you are wondering. I just don't talk about it as much because all you like to hear about the UFC stuff, not so much the other promotions, because UFC is the biggest one. I understand, but yeah, if any of you ever want me to talk about the other promotions more so, just leave comments and I'll be more than happy to oblige. Supply and demand, right? Anyhow, there you have it. That wraps up this doubleheader episode. Until then, see ya.